So we're going to talk about how top agents win more listings with Highnote, and it's if you know what Highnote does and you know what it is, um, this is a great reminder, really, of how you need to take everything you do to the next level to be a top agent, and your presentation is obviously one of the ways. Now, what we're going to talk about is uh, one, how to double your impact. Send both a pre and follow up presentation really gives you a competitive edge. It makes you look thorough. It makes you look like someone that will go the extra mile. And that's what every seller wants to know, that you're going to treat their property like it's the only thing on earth. And by going through the effort, taking the effort to sending a follow up presentation, is a great way to do that. You know why? Nobody does that. Nobody does that, and we did that. And what we found was, more accurately, Chris did this. Chris Lim in the top left here, who's a super successful real estate entrepreneur. Today is the head of growth of Remax, and we're going to talk more about this as we go here. All right. Next is standing out from the competition. The things that you need to do that to turn every prospect into a client. And that's all about looking better, doing more, doing better. That's really what top agents do, and successful people do in general. They go the extra mile. All right. And then maximize every single lead. Win clients before you even meet them. Don't let a lead go to waste. Right, a mind is a terrible thing to waste. Who remembers those ads and from back in the 90s? But it's exactly true. You got to treat every lead like it's your last one, especially when they're far and few between, like today. So, there aren't going to be dozens of leads that are hitting your inbox every week. It's going to be half that or less. So you really need to do more, and to make sure every single lead counts. Treat everyone seriously and convert. Try to have an attitude of converting every single lead. All right. Stay to the end and you get this free guide. The shortcut to winning more listings and more buyers. It's a free guide that we put together, and some of the topics that we're going to talk about today will be included here and summarized in here. So stay to the end. We'll give you that. We'll give you a way to scan that. Now, just a little bit of a reminder, I'm a real estate agent too. I'm actually at Christie's International Real Estate, and I was the #2 condo agent in San Francisco. And we built a cool little brokerage called Climb Real Estate. It was a top 250 brokerage in the United States. We skyrocketed up the charts, and Realogy, Now Anywhere, took notice and purchased us. We sold Climb. We were going to be on every street corner in the United States. They were going to franchise us nationwide. Those plans didn't go through, but they purchased us, and I started Highnote. And at Climb, we taught hundreds of agents how to win the way we win. And we developed these methods, and a lot of these things, one of the major topics, one of the major ways to win is all built into Highnote. And that's what I started. And I wanted to help other agents out because it's a very simple way to elevate your business, and it's through your presentation. So let's talk more a little bit. And these are the number of sales in the United States in the past 20 years. And I started here during the peak when everyone was getting a license, and real estate could do no wrong. It was always going to go up 20% a year. It was hot. I don't know who remembers those days, but if you do, put it in the chat here. But they were high flying days. And then the market adjusted and corrected itself. And back in 2009, late 2008, 2009 period, it got really bad for real estate and homeowners. That's when we started our brokerage. And I love these lean times because it allows you to focus on what works, what are the fundamentals of what you're trying to do and accomplish. And in real estate, it's it's it got us really, really lean, and it really made us focus on every single lead, just like today. And today, you see here the number of leads, I'm sorry, the number of sales in a year are the same as the Great Recession back in 2009, 2010. Very, very slow. It's an odd market though, because the prices are rising in a lot of places, um, which is opposite of what happened in 2009, 2010. But and then also interest rates are super high relative to what it just was last year, and we all know this now. But my point is that if we could do it back in the day in the Great Recession, we could do it now. And it's a reminder that you have to buckle down and focus on the fundamentals. And we are all salespeople. Everyone on this call is a salesperson. The pitch and the presentation is paramount to a salesperson's job. I know as real estate agents, we do many more things, but you are also fundamentally a salesperson. And great salespeople pitch great, right? You have a great pitch, you have a great presentation. And this is a reminder and kind of a sort of a re-emphasis or emphasis on the fact that your presentation is everything in sales. And that's what Highnote does and in real estate. Now, this is, oh, let me go back. That was the picture of my brokerage, where our first office, this dingy live work loft back in the day. And what we did was we transformed into a fantastic, hot selling, high flying brokerage. And a lot of it was because of the focus and detail we gave to our marketing and our sales process. And that's where Highnote was born. Now, part of the way part of the reason why we spent so much time and effort on our great presentations was because we were the little guy on the street. So you see, these are funnels. And if you don't think about your business as a sales funnel, one useful analogy is that your business could be seen as a sales funnel. The top is where the leads enter, and the bottom is where the clients come out. And you're not going to get every lead. You're not going to capture every lead. We get it. But you can do a lot to increase your conversion. And these funnels, represent sort of different types of brokerages, or maybe you, right? How big is your funnel? If you don't have a big funnel and you're new and you're inexperienced relative to the market, you are not going to get as many lead opportunities. So you need to make the most of every single lead opportunity out there. And a great way to do that is to increase your conversion. Now, in the beginning, we weren't the top agents. We didn't just sort of start as top agents, and we weren't around for decades. We weren't the most experienced, and we hadn't been around for a century, like Coldwell Banker and other brokerages in our area. Sotheby's had a huge name in San Francisco, and it was very difficult to compete on name alone. So we needed to compensate, and we were new, and we always felt like we were always at a disadvantage. We were always had a chip on our shoulder in that way, and we always were fighting against more established, more experienced agents out there, and we built this from nothing. And a great way to beat top producers, or the people who are the bigger funnels out there, is you look like a top producer, right? Have a presentation that a top producer would use, right? And what does that mean, right? What does that mean? Well, it means quite a number of things. But when armed with great presentations, the agents that have these great presentations win more, period, much more. They're gorgeous and visual. They're informative. They're on brand. They're highly personalized. These are the elements of of a great presentation, but they're hard to produce, and that's why we made Highnote. Now, when our agents were armed with these presentations, what happens? Well, they appear to be more professional, right? I'm not saying they were unprofessional, but you look much more professional with a great presentation. If you have an average presentation, how does that reflect on you? Think about that, right? Or if you had a poor presentation, how does that reflect on you? It doesn't reflect well, that's for sure. But if you had a great presentation, you can very often overcome and cover up some of the things you're lacking, like experience, years of experience, sales volume, etc. But with these great presentations, agents were also able to build trust faster, and they stood out and won. Now, I would love to say they won every single listing present. Obviously not, right? Obviously not. But much more than having an average presentations. So having the best presentation turn our agents into top producers. We minted quite a few top producers in our area, and we like to credit the presentation as a huge reason for that. Now, let's get into these presentations. Any questions as before I go forward, continue forward? Please message in the chat if so. All right. Now, let's talk about winning the appointment. This is how every single appointment flow works. The lead finds you, you have an initial email or phone call, there's an in-person meeting, then you have a follow-up, and then you close, right? Probably 95% of all appointments happen this way. Now, what we suggest doing before securing the appointment or immediately after securing the appointment, send a fantastic something, right? Whether it is a something you're FedExing or a gift or something, but we are suggesting send a stunning digital presentation, digital listing or buyer presentation. And there's many reasons why you want to do that, okay? And I'm going to get into that. But it sets up, when you send something like a fantastic presentation that they interact with and read, right? It sets up this in-person meeting. Okay, it sets up the in-person meeting to be successful. And it lays down the groundwork for how the meeting's going to go. And it puts out, it lays out all the basics before your meeting so that when you show up, you can focus on their needs and stop talking about yourself and how great you are, but you're focusing on their needs and walking their home if it's a listing presentation, talking about the home and your strategy, etc. Then you're done. They have questions. They have questions about you, for you, and then you have a follow-up. What you should do is send another stunning digital presentation immediately after that addresses all their questions and concerns, but as well as dealing with any follow-up items that you need to discuss. So think about it as breaking up the sales appointment into thirds, right? You have a pre-sale, you have an in-person, and then you have a follow-up. But you might be asking, well, how do I build these presentations so quickly and make them nice? Well, that's where Highnote comes in. It's a simple but effective way to stand out from the competition. And so we call this the two-step method, and it was pioneered by, or at least, I mean, Chris taught me this method, and it's not new. I know of quite a few agents who use this, and they're always the top agents that I noticed. But let's go into it. You send a pre-listing out, and then a follow-up listing. Who sends a pre-listing presentation? Message in the chat, and who doesn't send one? Also message in the chat. Let us know your comfort level with this. But what we're going to talk about is I'm going to show you what a pre-listing presentation is. And this is what a great one looks like. Okay. Now, when you first, uh, now again, before you get the appointment or you've secured the appointment already, and let's say you're going to meet them on Friday, send something beforehand. And this is what you should send, something like this. You have, you have, you have, picture, a video, you have a little intro of yourself, you have something about your team, you have something about your brokerage, you have something about why your brokerage, and then the presence of your brokerage. And this is particularly important too, because you want to show that your brokerage has a presence in the area that you're trying to sell in. Because very often there's a lot of agents out there who don't have experience in the area you're getting the listing in. If you don't have a listing experience in that area or sales experience, highlight your brokerage experience and where they work, where they do business. You want to also highlight and talk about some unique services that you provide. Sure, agents, you've seen the 171 things that real estate agents do. But if you provide that, if you talk about those things, well, that's what every agent does. So it's good that you include it, but you need to talk about why you're different. And in our case, Chris's case, his sister was a interior designer. It still is a stager who's very good. I use her all the time in the San Francisco area. But he offers this as an in-house service and expertise for their clients. Now, so find out what that thing is that you do that could be unique and really focus on that. Now, the next thing you want to talk about is your experience. And you want to pick listings or past listings that are similar to the home in question. So include that, include these things here. These are three different projects that Chris was selling, and he was going after a big sale, which is why I included these three projects. Now, again, neighborhood validation. So you want to say that, hey, my brokerage knows your address. My brokerage knows your address. It's a simple way to give some validation that you have experience in the area. Then you want to start getting into the informative stage of your presentation. Not many people, sellers, have sold a home before, and they want to understand the timeline, marketing timeline. We include these in stock, and you could customize these, but we include these in our standard templates. But there's a planning phase, there's an advisory phase, there's an off market phase, listing goes on the market, you're in contract, and you're at close. What happens? So you want to explain clearly all the steps that are needed. Offer. When an offer is accepted, what happens? Right? There are a lot of things that have to happen to get the property closed from a lending as well as a due diligence perspective. And then put in something that personalizes the presentation. And what we do or did was we included a quick little tax record search using your favorite property records lookup tool that would show things like beds and bath counts, square footage, lot sizes, any sort of ownership history, and perhaps liens on the property. You want to show these things because, one, it shows that you did a little due diligence. Two, you're providing some value because a seller doesn't usually see this information. So you want to bring it and show it as a point of discussion. You want to talk about what tax record says the number of beds and baths are, because sometimes it's wrong. You want to talk about square footage count. You want to talk about lot sizes. You want to talk about zoning. You want to talk about liens. You want to talk about owners of record. The other reason why this is important to have the owners of record included in the presentation because you're validating to them, hey, oh, I see that you and your wife or you and your husband, you and your significant other own the home together, and making sure that every single owner is there in that conversation with you. A couple times you may be speaking with, let's say, the brother, but there's also a sister who also owns the property, and but she's not on the call or not in the meeting. So you want to make sure that all the people who own the property, the decision makers, are verified here. And now, the next slide, very important. This is, remember, this is a pre-listing presentation. You haven't even seen the home yet. You haven't seen the home yet. So to me, it's very difficult to provide an accurate valuation of the home. So you don't want to include comps now. And because very often, and I'm sure a lot of you have felt the same way, or this has happened to you, the comps are not correct. They're a little bit off. You undershot the price or you overshot the price because you haven't even seen the home. And in a lot of areas, curb appeal matters, right? The 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 view from the home can often matter. The condition of the home can matter. Maybe you missed some renovations. Maybe you didn't see or notice something about the home where it's better than what you could figure out just from running online comps. The other thing that you don't know before the meeting is what the seller thinks their home is worth. And if you've sold real estate for any period of time, 9 out of 10 times the seller thinks their home is worth more than what the market value of the home is. Either they think it's worth more or they want more. So providing comps ahead of time, I find, is of very little value to securing a listing. And in fact, it could backfire. And it's backfired for me before. So don't include comps ahead of time. I think it's a big mistake. And it and the way to get around this when sellers are expecting comps before meetings, like, well, I need to meet you and see the home. You can't provide a professional estimate of the value of a home without seeing it. So don't do that now. It also provides you a way, by not including it now and including it in the follow-up, it allows you a way to provide a more accurate valuation and a reason to follow up and have another meeting with them after if they're on the fence. Okay, so I want to make that very clear. Do not send comps. What is the NAR commission lawsuit and settlement all about? Make sure you have a slide about this. There's a lot of confusion out there. They think that, oh, their commissions are lower, etc. It's not, the commissions are lower, it's how they're paid is different and not necessarily lower. So make sure you explain this because that's going to be on their mind of every single seller. Then you want to include a listing agreement. Okay, this is called a presumptive or assumptive close. It shows strength. It signals to the seller or the lead that you are here to sign this and that you are going to need to sign this if you want to proceed to work with me. It's a really subtle way to close people by sending the listing agreement ahead of time. It shows confidence, and you want to do that. That's what top producers do. You send that ahead of time. And when you send it with a program like Highnote, you get to see if they're reading it or not. Any of these sections, you will see if the seller or buyer, right, if this is a buyer presentation, is reading the presentation and what sections and how long they are reading things for. So if they're reading your listing agreement, if they opened up and they're reading the listing agreement, what does that say? Right? They're curious what your agreement looks like. That maybe they're looking for the commission, which I wouldn't fill in here unless you're confident that you only sell at 3% or 2.5% or 3.5%. I wouldn't even put it in here, right? But just include the form, right? See if they open it and read it. Because if they're reading it, opening and reading it, it tells you they're strong, right? If they're opening up and reading your testimonials, well, they don't know who you are yet, right? So include your testimonials right after the listing agreement to give validation that, hey, you are a legitimate agent with a lot of clients. Now, and a lot of 5-star reviews. Now, why you? Make sure you close this presentation. You started it with get to know me. You talked about you, your team, your brokerage, talked about your services. You talked about your track record. You talked about neighborhood validation, how to market, what happens after an offer sells. Then you start talking about their home. What's the value of your home? No, I'll tell you when I see you or after I see you and see the home. Then you talk about your commission, your agreement, your legal agreement, and then why you again at the end. So this is the hands down, I would argue, the best pre-listing presentation out there. It wins all the time. And it sets you apart at a tremendous rate. I'm going to pause for questions. I've been rambling. So any questions in here, please message in the chat. No questions? All right, I'm going to proceed. But if you do, please interrupt me. Now, what do you do after you sent the pre-listing? You meet them in person. You walk the home. You meet the owners, etc. And they have questions about you, the process. What do you do that's so different? And they want to know what price the home, what is the value of the home according to your opinion, and what you're going to do to get a higher price or to get that price, right? But really, they want to know what you're going to do to get the highest price. That's really what they want to know. And so you need to follow up after the meeting, right? Now you could do your dog and pony show at the meeting, at the presentation, in person, etc. But you're not going to give a value. You're not going to give a value. Yes, Jeremy, there will be a recording. Thank you for bringing your team. There will be a follow-up afterwards, and you do it though professionally and with another presentation. Doesn't have to be a high note, but it sure is makes it easy and easier, and it makes you stand out because other agents will not go through the effort of putting together a huge presentation, and this is easy to do. Now, what it goes into a follow-up? Well, your observations, right? Walk through property assessment. Hey, we walked through the home, and this is what I noticed: the positives and some negatives that we need to counteract, etc. Strategy, recommendations. This is the juicy part, right? Here's a strategy, one potential strategy for your home. Target demographic. Who is the likely buyer for your home? What kind of family situation are they? Now, I'm not saying advertise or market this way, but you need to think about who is going to be the likely buyer for the home. Is it a condo in downtown? Well, guess what? It's probably not going to be a family, right? It's probably going to be a first-time buyer or a single person or maybe a young couple, etc., or someone's retiring to the neighborhood, unless your downtown has a lot of families in it, right? But you need to think about who is the likely buyer for the home. In San Francisco or downtown, guess what? It's going to be someone in AI, all right? AI is taking off, and everyone in the market is related to AI in some way. So you need to focus on kind of who is the likely buyer for the home. In the suburbs, it's going to be a family. If it's a 3-4 bedroom, it's not going to be someone that's single. Let's be real, right? It's going to be someone with a young family or kids, etc. Now, timing. When do you come to market? When is the best time to come to market? There are good times to come to market and terrible times to come to market. And then next, you want to talk about give a broker price opinion. Vic, I'll answer your question in a second. Broker price opinion. Now, you could put in any sort of comp CMA that you want. You could put in Cloud CMA, you could put in your Moxie, you could download, you could go to MLS and make them yourselves with their CMA tools. You could make spreadsheets, whatever you want. You could insert them here. We break them apart and we make them manually every single time because in San Francisco and in a lot of places, anywhere where comps are hard to just automate, um, with if they're hetero, like if they're not homogenous, or the properties are not super similar, you can't just sort of say, all right, give me all the 4 bedrooms that sold in the area. Very hard to comp that way in San Francisco. So we always do them manually. We break them out. We have neighborhood sales, recent sales. What's the most relevant comp to your home? What's a baseline comp for your home? And then what's the value, right? Putting this all out together shows that you've taken some effort. And again, the attitude here is how to win like a top producer. What do top producers do? They go above and beyond. All right. And so you need to go above and beyond in everything you do, including your analysis, especially your analysis of the home. And then what's the value of the home? Give a range, right? And then you put that in here. But this is the juicy part. Obviously, they want to see the valuation. And you could see when they're looking at this presentation. All right. Vic, have you ever emailed a presentation to anyone? Of course. And that's, you know, you have to think about what you're going to email. But for sure, a lot of agents do this. I do this a lot, and it's very often to get the appointment. If you have a lead that comes in and they're kind of cold, right, and you want to introduce you and your services, this is a great way to do this. You send a pre-buyer presentation or pre-listing presentation. It's better than just sending a regular email in many cases, right? So you definitely want to, you can definitely do that. Now, dangers of overpricing, right? Online. Sorry. So after the comps, you want to also talk about online property values. They're looking at those too. You don't think they're looking at this estimate, the Redfin estimate, the Realtor.com, whatever. And sometimes they're trusting them. So you want to like talk about them and not ignore them. And then you also want to look at them as well so that you know what your seller may think their home is worth, right? Or what Zillow's saying. And you want to shoot those down if they're wrong. Now, dangers of overpricing. Start providing value in these presentations. Now you're acting like their agent. Hey, I want to caution you why you should not overprice your home. It's tempting to go maybe, hey, my home's worth, I'm telling you your home is worth 1.4, but you want to price it at 1.5. Let me tell you why that's a problem. And there's 10 reasons in here or 7 reasons in here. And we have this stock, we have this template available within our templates. Now, next steps. Right now, start moving towards a close. Here are the next steps. Sales and marketing calendar. Step 1, week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4. Right? Takes time to prepare a home. Takes time to prepare a condo. Right? So you want to talk about all the steps and all the things that you do as a professional real estate agent to prepare their home to market. And we have a generic version available. It doesn't say Climb Real Estate on this. And that's included in the templates. Now, importance of disclosures, right? You want to talk about, okay, making sure we disclose everything. And then also reasons why the home isn't selling. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And giving them sort of advice right now why a home doesn't sell. And it's really telling them ahead of time, look, don't be at the showings. Okay, that makes it really awkward, right? Don't don't be emotionally attached to your home. I know it's hard, but it causes problems, right? Getting the home ready, stage it, paint it, clean it, personal decor, remove your pictures, right? Remove anything personal about your home. So things like that, you start giving them tips, giving them value now, right? Giving them value now, even before signing the dotted line. But every true great service professional provides value first, and that's what you're doing here. Then you want to summarize. Okay, you say, let's get started. You're moving to the close. Summarize the recommendations, highlight the key points in your recommendation. Now you put the listing agreement in again. Ready to get started? Here's my listing agreement, right? And this could be sample, or this could be the actual one, whatever it may be. Then you want to show your team and reminding them, hey, don't forget, remember that team I was backed by, or my brokerage that I was backed by? Well, we're here for you. And then your testimonials, again, and then why you again. See how you close this? It's a brilliant, brilliant follow-up presentation. And I wish I could take credit for it, but Chris Lim made this. But it's a walkthrough assessment, recommendations, right? Comps or valuation of the home, and then um, some tips, some value you're providing, the process, how does the process work, giving some FAQs and reasons why you should, don't mess up, and here's how to not mess up, and summarize the recommendations, send a listing agreement, and then validation of you and your team. Any questions? This is the follow-up presentation. I'm going to pause for a second for questions. But the follow-up presentation, right, really is about going for it. If you're on the edge or on the border, or um, you know, someone is on the fence about deciding about you, well, then really go for it. Don't just send one presentation, send the second one. Your competition may be sending one or nothing at all, and you're going to stand out. And so many times when we send things this way, sellers and our Highnote customers will say, my gosh, the feedback was tremendous. The seller said that we were the only ones that sent anything like this. Okay. Questions. Pausing for questions. Another way to think about this is you have nothing to lose except your commission, a potentially lost commission, which could be tens of thousands of dollars, right? An average commission is around $9,000. So go for it. Don't play to lose, play to win. That's what top producers do. Okay. And all right. Now you're asking yourself, if you don't know Highnote, Highnote solves this problem. You have so much stuff you can send. Okay. Testimonials, CMAs, sales contracts, Matterport videos, whatever it is that you want to send. It's a bunch of stuff. And you want to make a presentation, but it's difficult. You're an agent. You're not a presentation builder, right? And so you go online, you look for templates, you try to build it in PowerPoint or Google Slides or whatever, Keynote, doesn't work. You try to use tools like Cloud CMA, Moxie Present. They're great, but they're inflexible. Very hard to customize and do anything. Or you ask your graphic design team, your marketing team, but it takes too long to put together. So Highnote solves this problem. Okay. But what ends up usually happening before Highnote is you send something like this. You send an email full of links and attachments. And sure, you think that's fine. But actually what happens is the buyer or the seller on the other side is confused. And they're overwhelmed by the stuff you've sent. Right? And it's a negative experience. So turn it into a positive one. Now, consequences of not having a good presentation. Okay, let's just talk about what happens when you send something bad. Okay. Now, you have lost listings and clients, reduced client trust and confidence, lower commission potential. And by the way, this presentation on the right is a real presentation. No offense to this lady. She's very nice, but this presentation does not look so good. Reduced referral opportunities, limited differentiation in a competitive market. You want to differentiate yourself. Okay. Yeah, Paula, you asked the question. It's possible. Is it possible to get a signature at the in-person? Absolutely. Okay. But if you could do it, right? But very often we find that they want to know what you think the value of the property is. And very often in most situations, I find, at least in our market, it's very difficult to come up with an exact valuation before the meeting or at the meeting. Now, if you're in an area where it's easier to comp out and maybe there's less sensitivity to that, you can maybe provide all your valuation beforehand and you nailed your presentation, get the signature right then. Absolutely. I just find it's very difficult to pull off. And it goes, you do it. If you could do it, great. Go for the hard close. Absolutely. When I've tried that, It doesn't work in our market. They have to think about it. They want to take time, and they're also waiting for my answer on what the value is. And I don't show up to a listing presentation, in-person appointment, ready to give the valuation because sometimes I could be wrong. I take my time, I go back and think about it, and then I prepare everything and send it. But if you get it signed, do it. Okay. Now, other consequence of not having a good presentation is poor client retention and repeat business, right? And your difficulty competing against tech savvy agents. Now you might say, well, my seller is not tech savvy. It's fine. They don't need to be tech savvy. They just want to know that you are. And one great testimonial an agent said was they sent a high note and to an older seller who is not tech savvy, right? But the comment was that she's like, I'm not going to read this, but I want to know that my agent is on top of technology and using the latest and greatest tools. So it's a signal. Remember, you want to be a top producer. The talk was how top agents do it. Top agents are great at everything. They're great at marketing. They're great in the number of listings they have. They're great in their sales talk. They're great with their presentations. They're great with their analysis. They're great with their client handling. You want to be great, and you have to be great at all steps. Okay, and this is the way to be great. Now, hold on. What are the chances that the presentation email ends up in the spam folder? You know, DocuSigns can go in spam folder. So there is a chance. But what you should do to prevent this is call them if they haven't opened it. So when you send it, and this is a great trick. When you send the presentation, you see that they haven't opened it. We give you notifications whether they opened it or not. And you say, hey, listen, Mr. Seller, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, Mr. and Mrs. Buyer, I just wanted to let you know that I emailed you some information before our meeting, and I want to make sure that you got it. And oh no, I didn't see it. Okay, well, check your spam just in case it went in there. And then they go in there and maybe find it. Maybe it's very rare, but it can happen, right? Now, but it provides you another touch point, and it shows that you're diligent. It shows that you're on top of it, and it shows that you provide great service. So we use it as a way to provide another touch point and say, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Buyer, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, I sent you something ahead of time. Please read it. It also gives them a reminder to read it beforehand because it makes your in-person meeting that much more effective. Okay, I hope that helps, Kim. All right. And however, yes, Lisa is correct. We haven't seen many issues with deliverability, but it does happen. All right. Now, okay, you absolutely need a great presentation today. Everything is digital, everything is technology, and it needs to be digital. So you need to have a great digital presentation. You need to have both, really. You need to have a great one that you printed out, and you need to have a digital one too. Don't just rely on your PDF. Take it to the next level. Why? Because that's what top agents do. You want to be a top agent? That's what you should do, right? Have a great online digital presentation. Now, that's what Highnote is. It's a next generation real estate sales platform, digital, interactive, and AI driven. Drag and drop, easy to modify on the fly. Just take assets, drag it right into your presentation, duplicate, personalize, and deliver. Your buyer or listing presentation is going to stand out and win. And then notifications and analytics. The secret sauce is you get to see what people are reading, when, how long, and what sections. And you get to read your buyer or seller's mind with real-time notifications. And it's incredible. It allows you to be the fly on the wall to understand their mind before you show up. Now, and also after, if you could see they're reading the follow-up presentation or not. Build and enhance with AI. We are adding a lot of AI features in here. We just rolled out a new section that helps you build an agent slide, a team slide, and a brokerage slide. It's on beta, And so if you want that, let us know. But it's rolled out and working. Now we also have we have presentation templates that allow you to build trust and credibility, explain and show your value, show your tech forward, and stand out from other agents. So these pre-listing presentations and the follow-up presentations, we have templates already pre-made, and we can help customize these for you and your team for an additional charge, right? The templates are free, but the additional graphic design and setup is extra. Winning listings with Highnote, Katie Day, Dylan Hall, Michael Minson, Michael Levine, these guys all had great success, and many, many others, obviously. But we're running short on time, so I'm not going to go through these. But this is a game changer, and we have many more use cases. It doesn't just do listing presentation; it's a marketing tool in a box, marketing sales tool in a box. Client updates, giving updates, seller portal, buyer portal. A lot of people use it for that. Open house sign in. A lot of people use it for that. Marketing or digital flyers, property flyers, digital property flyers. Why do people do that? Well, you have a ton of marketing assets that you need to deliver, and sending that out shows your seller, and it also highlights your property, and you get to see analytics. Who's interested? Winning offers, right? Sending offers with Highnote, and a lot of people do that as well, but to great success. Recruit. How do you recruit? You recruit with Highnote as well. Closing docs or annual reviews. Great use case for that. It's like having 10 tools in one. Deborah says, having a platform like Highnote allows me to present every aspect of our communication from nurture to close. Winning offers, digital flyers, welcome books. A lot of agents will use this as welcome books for their home. If you're doing maybe you had a lease, or maybe you're renting out your own home, or you want to put materials together for your buyer who just purchased a home. Agent to agent walkthroughs. If your community has a lot of lockbox showings, sending this out to an agent ahead of time is a great way to sell the home. Seller portals, like I mentioned, and sales portfolios as well. I didn't talk about that, but listing all your properties into one Highnote, and then putting that in your signature or your link in bio, in your Instagram, etc. Putting everything in one spot. Neighborhood guides, another great use case, and then annual real estate reviews. And we have these samples on our website in templates, or the built with Highnote section where the community is providing their presentation. Done for you templates. Now, we provide these templates: one-on-one meeting, fast turnaround, multiple template styles, unlimited editing. It's a service provided by Highnote Studios. We could also edit your PDFs. That's a little bit extra on an hourly rate charge, but we also do a full Highnote tutorial for you as well. And if you purchase this done for you service, we guarantee results. If you use these presentations and use Highnote as described, and if it doesn't help you win more, we'll refund your money, guaranteed. That's how much we believe in the tool and how successful agents are with it. Again, the done for you service is a guaranteed guarantee. Now, pricing. Highnote, $33 a month for Highnote. Okay. If you pay monthly, it's $39. But if you pay annually, you get 15% off, $33 a month, unlimited everything. Presentations, assets, favorites, folders, everything is unlimited. Done for you service. If you want a template customized and set up for you based on your branding and your messaging, and the one-on-one service we'll provide for you, plus the money back guarantee, $350, $349 for one presentation. It could be a pre-listing, it could be a buyer pre-meeting, it could be a follow-up one, etc. A lot of agents will buy 4 of them, and we offer 4 for $9.99. 4 of them is what? Pre-listing, pre-buyer, follow-up listing, follow-up buyer. Okay, don't play to, and it's really, again, what top agents do. This is what top agents do. And now, in summary, okay, having a great presentation is an easy way to win. Okay, and so one way to increase your business is just to basically increase your close rate. So a great presentation helps you do that. Okay, promo code HNSP20. HNSP20. And uh, use this code to purchase. Chris Katsoulis can book a time with you if you have more questions. And then here's the QR code for the guides. How to win listings before your listing appointment, how to make sure your listing appointment is successful, and how to wow buyers before your appointment. And I forgot to demo um, uh, Highnote, and that's what I'm going to do right now. I'm going to show you the analytics, and let me log in here if we have a couple minutes. And if you have questions, shoot them in, of course, in here. But I'm going to show you. Oh, here, look, Larson. I think I did this for you guys once, a Larson demo recently. And what I'm going to show you is this is a pre-listing presentation that we made, and I believe it was during a demo call with the Larson team. And these are all the sections in it. Okay. Now, when I mentioned before, it's so easy to build just with drag and dropping and moving sections around. But I'm going to demo here the analytics. So I'm going to share a link, and I'm going to just call this the August demo link. And I'm going to require the email to view this presentation. So what I'm going to do is post this into the chat. And this is what a Highnote presentation will look like. Now, you would put this link in the email that you send to people. Now, click on that link that I just sent, and I will show you what the analytics look like on my end. So I'm already seeing people log in. L Nelson Holmes at Gmail logged in. Fentner at gmail.com is logged in. Enter the email and looking at it. Realtor Susan Gao at gmail.com opened it. Now click on a few things. Click on some sections, scroll. I'm going to give you some time to look at it. Also, we tell you with our analytics, if you see here, like Cynthia at sincells.com, and she's using her iPhone to read this. And how do I know that? Well, it says mobile and Safari browser, right? There's only one device that can do that, and it's an iPhone. And so I know that you're kind of looking at it on the go, etc. Now, when I refresh this, I could see what people are using. Denise at Dublin.com, you checked out the power of my brokerage. You looked at all 7 pages of those, and you looked at it for around 5 seconds. So you're skimming it, right? L Nelson Holmes at Gmail looked at get to know agent name. Fentner looked at 4 items in here, and she commented, "This is amazing. Thank you." August demo. She looked at our office presence. She clicked on the agent video, so I know what you're looking at, and you could see the power of this, right? And a lot of agents have used this information to close people and to close them at the listing. So, I'll give you an example. One agent, Kyle Whistle, the number 1 team at EXP, his entire team's on Highnote, and what he found, Kyle said, was he was up for a $3 million listing, and his average price point is 600,000. So he felt like he was sort of out of his league, and he was up against the top luxury agent in the area. And he found that when he sent his pre-listing presentation out to the seller, he was looking at the videos. The seller was only. And he said, wow, why is he only looking at the video? It doesn't matter. I'm going to be prepared to talk about the videos and my video capability at our meeting. He shows up prepared to talk about these things. He finds out he's a video engineer, and he sees a studio, etc. And so him seeing this information and knowing, oh my gosh, he's interested in videos, and him prepared for the meeting to talk about videos allowed him to win this listing. And he beat the number one luxury agent. He got a $3 million listing because of these analytics. And there's many use cases and many examples of how agents will just blow it out of the water because they have this information. Now, this is why the results are so spectacular with Highnote, and this is why so many agents are on it. And this is how we propelled our business, because we leveled up our presentations to just being more than PDFs. They're online, interactive, and digital. We get feedback for ourselves so that we're prepared at the in-person meeting and we know what the sellers and buyers want. Okay, any questions before we wrap up? Was this useful? Let me know in the chat here. Let us know. Was this useful? Let us know. And any questions, please respond. Please reach out to us. You could always email us. You could reach out to Chris on his booking link as well. And you could email me at any time. And we're going to wrap it up. Thank you. It's 11 o'clock. It was a great, thank you. Awesome, Cynthia. Really appreciate it. Nolan, thank you. Very useful. Thank you much. Okay, awesome. I'm glad this was helpful. And again, if you want to purchase Highnote, book a time with Chris or just sign up online. Thank you, Gina. And thank you, everyone. And good to see everyone. And we're going to be doing the next session, we're going to be doing an AI session. I have a master's degree in AI, and there's a lot going on in AI and a lot of great ways to use AI for your business, as you all know. But I've been using it for my business, and I have a lot to teach everyone. So that's for the next webinar. All right, guys. Thank you very much for signing off.